Hi everyone, it's Liz here from the Nail Hub, and I am back to continue our breakdown of the Light Elegance brand with base coats. Light Elegance is in and of itself a hard gel brand. I would categorize them as specializing in hard gels, which means gels that cannot be soaked off with acetone. However, Light Elegance has created several soak off products. I'm just going to bring my microphone just a little bit closer. So the base coats vary quite a bit within the line, and there aren't that many of them. As you remember from my last video in this series, we talked about the bonders, and I wanted to quickly talk about the difference between base coat and bonder. All right, so one of the big differences that you'll notice about bonder versus base coat, and here's a very famous bonder in the Light Elegance line called tack. Bonders typically are very thin in consistency. So when you open them up, it will be very, very thin. Usually it's some kind of air drying product. And you'll remember also I was talking about primers versus bonders. Primers, a goal for the primer, and primer just means first, so that's why the word primer exists. But primers, usually within the nail industry, a primer like Vitaprime, a primer usually will etch the nail plate. So its job is to actually chemically etch the surface of the natural nail or the nail tip or whatever you're going to be applying product on top of. It will chemically etch the surface of whatever you put it on top of. And it usually uses some kind of acid to do that. So if it's methacrylic acid or if it's some kind of other, fruit-based acid that you might find in, for example, cuticle removers, there's a lot of different acids that we use in the nail industry, and their goal is to basically etch the surface of whatever we put them on. So that's why something like Vitaprime is great for people who have those really, really thick, sometimes you'll hear them referred to as like hoof nails, like the kind of nails you could just file on for days, and no amount of prep seems to do the trick with bonding product to them. An chemical acid-based primer is usually great for that, and that is the first step that you would put. You would then put a base coat on top of this, and I'll get into why we use base coats in a second. Okay, so think about primers as something that etches the nail plate. Bonders is something that creates an extra sticky surface. So it can also etch the nail plate. Tack does a little bit of that. It slightly etches the surface of whatever you put it on, but its main goal is to make the nail really, really sticky so that whatever we put on top of it is going to adhere to the nail, okay? But bonders are very different. Bonders and primers are usually very different than base coat because they are usually very thin. They're usually air drying, so we don't normally put them in the lamp. Tack is kind of a unique product where it can be cured in the lamp to make it extra sticky because it does have a little bit of gel ingredients in it to kind of get you there. It's kind of somewhere in between a bonder and a base coat. It kind of serves both. And this is where it gets a little bit confusing for people when they start using nail products is there's multi-use products. So a lot of people go, well, do I use this and then I use this and then I use this and then I use this? Sometimes it's a multi-use product that's trying to give you a bunch of different benefits in one formula. Okay, so tack is definitely one of those. Tack could actually be your only adhesion layer that you put under something because it has that air drying bonding factor. It also etches the nail plate slightly, and it can also be cured in a lamp to make it extra, extra tacky. So it's going to help to bond whatever you put on top of it with the natural nail underneath, or you could use it on nail tips. Any type of, full coverage nail tip, plastic extension nail tips, anything like that that you want to make them better situated to bond together. Tack is going to be really good for that. So tack I usually use on my full coverage nail tips on the inside to etch the inside of the nail tip, make it extra sticky. That way I don't have to use my e-file to etch the surface. And I'll go into how we're going to use these products, but I wanted to kind of just give you a quick data download on how bonders and primers differ from base coat. All right, so let's talk about base coats. Well, base coats usually think about them like the foundation. Okay, so instead of them just being to adhere product onto our nail, which they do, they are also a foundational layer. So they can actually be used to create that overlay layer or a thin layer of product that allows us to file down to it, whatever it might be. They do adhere the product to the natural nail, so they have those ingredients in them to help adhere everything to them. But base coat, think about it kind of like that foundational layer. It's going to be more of a gel consistency. It's not going to be thin and air drying. It's not going to be something that you just, dot on the nail and let it air dry and seep in. Base coats usually are a thicker consistency. They're a gel-like consistency, and most of the time they need to be cured in a nail lamp, okay? Now, they will differ in the Light Elegance line as to what goal you have. So we have a couple soak off base coats and we have a couple hard gel base coats. So these two products can be soaked off with acetone. They also are more flexible than the other hard gel base coats in the Light Elegance line. So these are a good cushioning foundation for people that have highly flexible nails. Maybe they have damaged nails. Cutie Base is going to be the most flexible, the thinnest, and it's also meant to soak off quicker than any of the other products in the Light Elegance line. So this is kind of one of those things that you could use for clients that just want a 2-week gel polish manicure. You want to be able to soak it off. Or if you're doing your own nails at home after taking my advanced class on gel nail basics, and now you yourself have also gotten authorized to buy P+, this is something that you're going to use underneath your gel polish so that you're able to quickly soak off those nails, okay? But it is very high adhesion. It's also more flexible, and it's going to work well for people that want a soak-off option. Jimmy Gel takes it one step further. Jimmy Gel is a building base gel. So this is what you might refer to as a rubber base, although rubber bases are just a marketing term. There's really no rubber in anything. What they used rubber to describe is a flexible builder gel, and most of those rubber base coats come in a bottle format instead of in a jar, okay? So Jimmy Gel is a soak-off building base. So you could use this as your base layer, you could use it as your overlay layer, and you can use it for even short extensions, active length extensions, but it is more flexible than a hard gel, so I don't recommend it for super long nails. And the other thing too is it does come in a bottled format, so it is very convenient in a way, but I prefer, if I'm going to be doing a lot of structure and a lot of building and a lot of extending, I prefer using a jar and a brush because it just allows me to access product easier. You can easily take some Jimmy Gel, put it out onto your table mat if you have a table mat, or onto a nail form, work from there. But these two products can work together. You can use this as your quick release thin layer of base coat under a builder layer like Jimmy Gel. So when you file down, you're going to be able to soak off Jimmy Gel that much faster. You could also use tack to create extra adhesion under your Jimmy Gel. So you can definitely up the ante with adhesion from different bonders and primers within the line. However, I will say less is more, okay? If you guys watched my video I did a few weeks ago on why your nails are still lifting if you're using primers and bonders, most of the time people are overusing bonders. They're putting way too much on the nail. They're trying to rely on this to actually get things to stick. And when we get into our application of these products, I'll show you exactly how you need to prep your nails to work with Light Elegance, because Light Elegance does not rely on, a lot of those icky, very high-risk monomers. They have reformulated their gel to be hyperallergenic, which means they rely on those longer chain oligomers. And because of that, we need to do a better job with our nail prep. So there's trade-offs to being able to use high-quality products like this and not, just relying on a lot of monomer in your product to get everything to stick. Okay, so these are the soak-off base coats, the ones that you can rely on within the Light Elegance line. And Jimmy Gel also comes... Sorry, my bottles are a little bit dirtier than they should be just because they get used. There's also 6 colors of Jimmy Gel, including clear. Okay, so there's the clear Jimmy Gel, and then there's soft pink, ideal pink, delicate peach, natural, and boomer white. And if you watched my video that I did on Jimmy Gel from a while ago, I actually show all of these in action. I'll also be showing them again as we get into the application of all of these products. But today is just a little bit of a data download. So let's talk about hard gel base layers, because just because a gel cannot be soaked off does not mean it's not a base coat, right? So we have Power Bond, and I actually showed Power Bond in my bonder and primer video as well, because it does also act as a bonder, but it is a gel. So if we open it and we look at it, it is a gel consistency. It does get cured in the lamp, and this is a hard gel base coat. It has been updated with its formula, so it is more flexible than it used to be in the past. However, it is a less flexible product than, say, Cutie Base or Jimmy Gel. So this one will work great if you're wanting like an instant overlay out of a bottle. Let's say you just want to do a hard gel overlay on a nail. You know you're going to keep that product on there for a while and you're just going to backfill it, but you want something quick and dirty that you can just get on the nail and then just put gel polish over the top, for example. You're not building a ton of length or structure. You just want to have that overlay that you can file down to and protect that natural nail. This is an awesome product for that. It goes on really easily. It self-levels like a dream. I really prefer thinner viscosities. So I love Power Bond because it allows me to actually create those overlays without having to, fully sculpt a nail. Okay. But keep it on the natural nail only. Don't extend with this. It's just meant to actually be that base layer, and it is a hard gel, so it will not be able to be soaked off with acetone. But I love this stuff, and the new formula works really well. Before it was too rigid for my nails. I have naturally flexible nails, so I would get lifting with the old formula. The new formula, it is a little bit more flexible, and this stuff is amazing for that. All right. Okay, and then last hard gel that can also act as a base coat is One Step. One Step is a potted product, so you're going to use it with a brush. I personally like the number 6 gel polish brush. This is the number 6 gel polish brush from my Elegance. It's a nice kind of oval cat tongue. It is a synthetic brush, so if you are wanting a synthetic option, you don't like using Kolinsky hair, this is a great option for you. And I like using, I started doing gel with brush and jar, and I always gravitate to that. I just find that I have the most control, but I know a lot of people like bottled product as well. So One Step, what I would do with One Step is I would use tack underneath One Step, just to give it that extra adhesion underneath. And then One Step, technically you can use One Step straight on the natural nail, but I like to use a bonder underneath it. One Step will also act like a hard gel overlay, just like I was talking about with Power Bond. However, One Step is a little bit thicker in viscosity. So if you want something that is self-leveling, and you can see it self-level on camera, but it's a little bit slower. And again, it'll change depending on the temperature that you've got in your room, different times of year. But it is a nice product. It does kind of stay where you put it a little bit better than Power Bond does. And you can use One Step for everything from base coat all the way to building out extensions and the structure, upper arches of nails, okay? So if you want a really multi-use product, you love working with hard gels, you're comfortable with e-filing, you want to just be able to use one product for your extensions and your overlays, and you're going to be able to do whatever you want on top of them, One Step is an awesome product for that. And just like it says in the name, One Step means it acts as a base builder, and also it cures shiny, so you can use it even as a top coat or as an encapsulation gel. So it is a great option for that. All right, so I wanted to give you guys just a quick download of the base coats within the Light Elegance line today. I will continue this conversation by going into the builder layers that we have available to us. And again, you'll notice some overlap between my videos as I go through this. The overlap is intentional because, like I said, when a company first comes out with a product, usually they'll come out with a product that's very specific and it only does one job. And then as they get customer feedback, the customers go, hey, I love this product, but I wish it also did this other thing. That's why we start to get overlap between our different products where, a bonder is also a base, or a hard gel builder is also a base coat. And it's because, as a technician, we're wanting to have multi-use products so that we can get that service done in a quick amount of time, and we don't have to buy, 8 products, we can buy 3 instead or something like that. So I hope this video helps break down a little bit about the different options that you have available to you for base coats within the Light Elegance line, and I'll be in touch again with another episode soon. Bye!